well, incluyendo una reducción en lo que son los ingresos usuales. También personas que han calificado, que han podido demostrar el hecho de que posiblemente se van a caer en un estado de ser desamparados. Y tercero, para hogares que tienen un promedio de ingresos de menos del 80%, concentrándose en personas que tienen menos del 50% de lo que es el promedio de ingresos, algo que ha enfocado mucho el comisionado Pérez sobre ese tema. Casas elegibles o hogares elegibles van a recibir hasta $24,000, y tan pronto que tenemos la página de web, el teléfono y sabemos cuándo van a empezar a recibir aplicaciones, lo vamos a poner en los canales nuestros, en las redes sociales. También le dimos, la comisión le dio a 3 organizaciones no lucrativas $100,000 cada uno para evitar lo que son desalojos que hemos visto y que son una gran preocupación de nuestra comisión y de nuestra ciudad. En particular, esos son Sunshine for All, Neighborhood Housing Services de South Florida, and Legal Services of Greater Miami. Obviamente, su enfoque va a ser evitar los desalojos que pueden causar otros problemas que tienen que ver con crimen y con desamparados en nuestra comunidad. Todos los fondos van a ir directamente a los dueños de las propiedades o a las compañías de electricidad. Si algunos dueños no quieren participar, entonces se va a ir directamente a los residentes, y vamos a priorizar a personas que no han podido pagar su renta por 90 días o más. También el viernes pasado tuve el gran privilegio de ser escogido por el presidente de los Estados Unidos por un grupo pequeño de alcaldes, 2 republicanos, 2 demócratas, y 2 gobernadores republicanos y 2 demócratas, para discutir el paquete nuevo de ayuda fiscal federal. Mis preocupaciones tenían que ver con, número 1, el hecho de que necesitamos más vacunas en nuestra comunidad para asegurar que los residentes nuestros pueden seguir continuando a trabajar y a regresar a la normalidad. Yo creo que el comisionado Reyes tiene una buena idea, una camisa que él quiere proponer para personas que han recibido la vacuna, y yo creo que el comisionado Reyes también lo debe de implementar. Pero en serio, tenemos que asegurar que podemos administrar estas vacunas lo más antes posible. Él me indicó, número 1, que había ido mucho más despacio de lo que él pensaba cuando él tomó posesión, pero que su administración había comprado 600 millones de dosis para el mes de julio, así que nosotros estamos preparándonos para la posibilidad de tener que administrar una cantidad mucho más grande, mucho más amplia que estamos haciendo en este momento. Y segundo, ustedes han visto cómo esta comisión ha estado unido, a mí y no solo a mí, pero a todas las ciudades, en batallar desafortunadamente en nuestro propio condado con la administración de fondos federales, en cual recibimos solo 15 millones cuando nos correspondía 88. Le pedimos que por favor nunca se olvidaran de las ciudades, que hoy es un gran ejemplo de esta comisión tomando acción, implementando $14 millones de ayuda directa a nuestros residentes, y nosotros hemos tomado cada oportunidad de actuar eficientemente, inmediatamente, para ayudar a nuestros residentes. Así que le pedimos y le explicamos que toda la ayuda que recibimos del gobierno federal va a ir directamente a los más necesitados en nuestra comunidad. Un mensaje que él aceptó y que él entendió. Yo estaba con él, junto con el grupo, por un poco más de una hora. Antes de eso yo hablé con el senador Scott, me comuniqué con el senador Rubio, tanto como el líder del Senado, Mitch McConnell, para el Partido Republicano, y también Kevin McCarthy. Así que tuve comunicación con ambos partidos para recibir la perspectiva del Partido Republicano en representación de sus valores a frente de la Casa Blanca, y también tuve la gran oportunidad de poder de estar escogido como parte del grupo, de poder destacar las conversaciones en el cuarto de prensa, que fue un honor para mí. Questions before I turn over the commission?
So, obviously, there are a lot of barriers to COVID-19, one being the nuclear variant that's common here in South Florida. Yesterday, New York Times reported there are 7 U.S. mutations that have now been formed. People might have to get second vaccine on top of what they already received to protect them. At what point does the city have to take some type of legal force or something against the governor to allow you and others to put a mask mandate in place that we saw physically work? protect people from spreading these other variants?
Well, I'll tell you this. The good news is I think people are wearing masks, in the city. I think we don't necessarily have to mandate it at this particular juncture because we have drilled it so much into the heads and the minds of people that I think it's almost a social faux pas if someone doesn't have one on. And I can tell you that the numbers in the city have gone down significantly. Today's number of cases was under 700. Our percent positive reached the 7% range for the last 14 days. I think today it was in the 5% range for yesterday. And we've seen hospitalizations are now close to breaching the 800 level. So we were in the summer at 2,300. We're now at around 800. So I think what we're doing as a community is working. Obviously, the mask in public rule was a tool that I felt was extremely effective in the summer to getting our numbers down even further by about 90%. But the fact of the matter is I think everybody, and I think every single person here is wearing a mask, and I think that's something that along with washing hands, now even iWatch, tells you how long you have to wash your hands before you reach the 20-second mark, and of course social distancing, which we've all become accustomed to doing, elbow bumping and all that.
I have two questions from my local 10 colleagues. One, Amy wanted to get your thoughts on COVID numbers, generally speaking, being on decline.
Yeah.
You're kind of pushed to the community
Sure.
about what to think when you see those numbers. And the second one is a story that local 10 is doing about Masita and the evil, the Puerto Rican flag, over $200 fine being enforced starting today. Will the city make any changes given it's so hard for restaurants to open those two things?
The first question is, as I said, I think residents have been following the rules and residents have been protecting themselves. We have drilled into them for months and months and months the safety precautions that they have to take in terms of wearing masks, washing their hands, and remaining socially distanced, and it's working. We're seeing all of the major metrics go down. Hospitalizations, hopefully in the next few days, will go below 800. At their worst moment, they were at 2,300. They're trending in the right direction. Percent positivity reached 7%, and is below 7%. And I think yesterday's number was 5.5%. So that's positive. And also the number of new cases is going down significantly. So we have to remain vigilant. We have to continue doing what we're doing. I think the fact that we're also vaccinating 7,000 people a week is helpful. And that is something that we're seeing happen in our community. So I think that's wonderful. In terms of La Placita, I've been very clear in our commission. I don't want to speak for our commission. I know they can speak for themselves. But they've been very clear on protecting the restaurant's ability and the Puerto Rican community's ability to have the Puerto Rican flag on the building. I think there was an attempt to keep it on there based on another building having a mural on it. And I think that other building came down, and that's why what happened. I still am not happy with the way that it happened, frankly. I think there needs to be more of a top-up approach and talk to elected officials before an action like that can create so much controversy should happen, and express that to the manager, and he understands. But he's explained to me that we're going to do everything that we can to work with them to make sure that they don't have to take that mural down. Because the fact of the matter is, from my perspective, it's beautiful. It's a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of the vibrancy of the Puerto Rican community in our city, which is a very vibrant and robust community. And I'm against the city enforcing it to do that.
That's $200 fine then.
I'll answer that question offline.
Mayor, they're being fined $200 a day for having this flag up.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue, especially in an era where having a restaurant survive in these days is so difficult? Is that going to continue with a $200?
I need to get clarity on that because I don't have an answer for you on that. All I know is my conversation with the manager indicated that he was going to do everything in his power to solve the problem, and that's what I've been operating on. Because I think it's clear, at least from my perspective, and I think it's clear from the commission's perspective, in terms of the actions that they took, that they didn't want the restaurant to be hurt.
On the vaccine front, Moscow has already said that because of the winter storm, we're expecting some delays in shipment. One, are you aware of any delays within the city of Miami about any doses?
I'm not.
Okay.
And I spoke to Jerry yesterday, and I'm not. He didn't mention it.
Can you give us an update? Are you still getting that same 7,000?
Yep. When I spoke to him last week, he said it was at least for 3 weeks. And obviously going to the White House and hearing that they're producing $600 million for July means hopefully we'll start getting some of that quickly.
And then just one final question on Moskowitz. You obviously have a very good relationship with him. Your thoughts on his resignation? I don't know if you've worked with his deputy, he's had to do this replacement.
Is it Rosenstein?
I'm not sure off the top of it. It's in his deputy.
The only person I've worked with other than Jared is Jared Rosenstein, who was his, I guess, chief of staff. I don't know if he's a person that, but anyways, Jared has been accessible. He's been someone that I've been able to talk to at all times. He's been very transparent with me, very honest, good, bad, or different. And I've enjoyed working with him. You know, I think he's fair and he tries to work hard to fairly administer whatever he's got going under his control, understanding that his authority is limited.
On the mobile pods, any update? Have you been able to allocate any more doses?
No, none whatsoever right now. We just haven't been able to get more for that program. We'd love to have it because I think the program was working very well. I had some preliminary conversations with Jared about identifying buildings, and I spoke to Commissioner Carroyo about this, about identifying buildings of a certain size, but that hasn't been finalized.
So with the 7,000 dose, you can't touch that for that program.
That's right. That's right. I'll go back to Joey, and then I'll go to Eric, and then I'll go to back there.
When you were speaking to the president,
Yeah.
what did you say to make the case for direct payments to the city for cities to receive federal aid directly?
A few things. Well, on the payments, I did make two arguments. One of the payments that it should be done on a CDBG basis. We receive federal funding on CDBG annually, and so there's a mechanism already for us to receive those payments. It gets us away from the 500,000 arbitrary threshold, where we put more money in states and in counties than we did in cities. By the way, part of the reason Senator Scott expressed this to me, why he was opposing the bill, was because he felt that it was unfair to cities, that a lot of states had previously withheld funds and there wasn't a good accounting of the funds that the states and the counties have received and that the cities have been left out. So I don't think those positions are inconsistent. The president was understood that and I think agreed with, I don't want to speak for him, but he agreed with that position and he said that that's how they were working the bill. On the issue of vaccines, I advocated for direct receipt of vaccines only because it makes it faster. And I think we've demonstrated from the minute we've gotten vaccines, all the commissioners have demonstrated that they are putting them to work in their district immediately. And our fire department has done a magnificent job, I'm sure everybody would agree. Our fire department has done a magnificent job administering the vaccine throughout the city.
When it comes to the vaccine, when does the city anticipate to receive the
I want to skip Eric. All
right, just a two-parter. One is, okay, so the phone number and the website are not up yet.
Yeah.
Any idea when they'll be up?
As soon as I have them, they'll be yours.
Like a week or two?
No. I would imagine in days.
In days? Okay, excellent. And is the city of Miami still trying to opt out of the 1% homeless trust tax contribution? And if so, why?
Yeah, we'll talk to you about that offline.
Okay.
Alcalde, primero tuvieron 1.4 millones de dólares, 1.5. Ahora con 14 millones de dólares tienen un estimado de cuántas personas van a poder ayudar. Me dice que son 24.000.
El programa es diferente, entendiendo que el programa anterior era solo una cantidad fija. Este nos da la habilidad de ayudar por mucho más tiempo, más extendido, a personas que tienen mucho más, que son más pobres y también que están a punto de posiblemente recibir un desalojo o recibir o estar en un estado desamparado. Así que el programa es diferente, así que vamos a poder ayudar todo lo posible bajo este programa.
Ahora, hay mucha gente, personas que no tienen de una manera formal de alquiler, principalmente la pequeña Habana, no tienen un contrato, van a disminuir de repente los requisitos. ¿Y cuánto sería la fecha? Sé que lo dijo en inglés, pero no en español. ¿Cuándo tendrían más o menos los requisitos?
Yo pienso que lo vamos a tener en algunos días, en algunos 1, 2, 3 días. No quiero considerar una fecha fija porque si no, no sé, no quiero comprometerme. Pero nosotros tratamos de ayudar a todos, inclusive ayudándole desde el punto de vista con las computadoras, con las aplicaciones, etc. Hay algunas restricciones porque acuérdate que son fondos federales. Nosotros tenemos que sobrevivir a una auditoría sobre esos fondos y el gasto de esos fondos apropiadamente.
When does the city expect to receive an increase of vaccines, and are there plans right now to create, when more vaccines become available, to have more sites like Marlins Park that can more accessible people who live in other neighborhoods?
The only guarantee that I have is that the President of the United States told me that they had acquired 600 million doses for July. That's the only, sort of thing I can pinpoint. too. I can tell you also I've had conversations with Jared about opening another site, potentially one in Hadley as a walk-up site, and also having multiple walk-up sites or buildings, which is something I've discussed with Commissioner Carollo as well. So those are all discussions that we've had, but there's nothing that's concretized that I can tell you that we're ready to announce. Jenny, did you have one?
No, that's it.
You're good?
I think you prefer
Yeah, everything. Okay. Thank you guys for that. And I want to pass it to commissioners, please.
Alcalde, ¿cuáles serían las restricciones del programa?
Las restricciones. Hay tres diferentes posibilidades para calificar. Uno es que tiene un nivel de pobreza de 80% o menos de lo que es el promedio. Segundo, que la persona, obviamente residente de la ciudad de Miami, pero no sé si lo eliminé. Ok, aquí. Pero hay tres diferentes formas de calificar. Primero, que la persona ha recibido o ha tenido alguna dificultad financiera a través de COVID-19. Número dos, que están al riesgo de estar desamparados. O número tres, que tienen un ingreso del hogar que es de 80% o menos, entendiendo que vamos a priorizar a personas que tienen 50% o menos, o personas que no han podido pagar la renta por 90 días o más.
For my time, if you give me last words in Spanish, if you want.
What's that?
Last words.
Which part?
Just the conversation you had and the relationship between you and
Mi conversación con Jared ha sido muy positivo. Es una persona que siempre ha contestado el teléfono, una persona que siempre me ha dado la respuesta honesta y ha tratado de hacer todo lo posible para ayudar a la ciudad de Miami con los recursos que él ha tenido. I think there's a last question, and I'm going to turn over to the commissioner.
The chief of police, we hear that they're down to finalists. Do you have the latest on
I'll
where
talk to you
they are?
offline about that. Yeah, thank you. Now I'd like to begin by allowing the Vice Chair, Ken Russell, to speak, and then we'll go in order from there. Thank you, guys.
Good morning, buenos días. Ken Russell, City Planning Commissioner for District 2 and Vice Chairman of the City Planning Commission. Con esta pandemia, no solamente tenemos una crisis de salud, tenemos una crisis económica. La gente no puede pagar la renta, los propietarios no pueden ganar la renta. Entonces, este 14 millones de dólares no es un regalo, es una responsabilidad del gobierno local para ayudar a nuestros residentes durante un estado de emergencia. This is not a gift, this is not a giveaway. This is the help that our residents need right now because of the pandemic. $14 million that we're able to deploy is going into rental assistance to make sure that the most vulnerable in our community don't become the homeless in our community. They need to be able to pay their rent. This program will allow that to happen. It's very important. It's very important, and it's our job right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is another example of how the City of Miami Commission is working. And what we have been doing is we have the help that we receive, what we do, we bring it just straight to the people of Miami and those that need it the most. As Commissioner Russell said, this is not a gift. It is our duty. It is our duty to help those in need. And there is a big concern, not only among us, but nationwide, that when this moratorium, finalizes now in March, many people are going to be kicked out of their apartments and their homes. And what we are trying to do is trying to prevent that, helping as much as we can with the amount of money that we are receiving. And I want to also add to a question that said how many people are going to be helped. Well, it all depends on the amount of people of rent or mortgage that people are paying. The maximum is $2,000. but it is not $2,000 across the board, because the funds are going to go directly to the landlord or the financial institution that has issued the mortgage. ¿Okay? Esto no es, como dijo el comisionado Rosso, esto no es un regalo. Este es el deber de nosotros, la Comisión de Miami, de apoyar a todos nuestros residentes. El ejemplo que nosotros hemos dado es que hemos ido directo a los residentes. Cada vez que hemos recibido, ya sea vacuna o fondos, vamos directo a los residentes y se les lleva directo a los residentes. Es nuestro deber y eso es lo que estamos tratando de hacer. Hay una preocupación muy grande, no solamente entre nosotros, sino a nivel nacional, de que cuando se cese la moratoria contra los desalojos, va a haber una cantidad de desalojos que podemos tener personas y niños en las calles. Nosotros estamos tratando de evitar eso y por eso es que este programa se está implementando. Sobre la pregunta que hizo el señor yo creo que de TV América, sobre cuántas personas se van a ser ayudadas, todo depende de la cantidad de que se pidan, y la cantidad que las personas estén pagando, porque es un máximo de $2,000. Pero eso no quiere decir que todo el mundo va a recibir los $2,000, porque nadie va a recibir el dinero. El dinero va directo al dueño de la propiedad o va directo a la institución financiera, que es el que tiene la hipoteca de la casa. Si es $1,000, es $1,000. Si es 1,500, 1,500. Por lo tanto, no podemos decir una cantidad exacta de cuántas personas van a ser beneficiadas. Muchísimas gracias.
Colleagues would refer to me, and I'll take that opportunity to say that this pot of money that we're receiving, federal government, is what we call homeless moratorium. There's an opportunity for us to help them. But I think it's important because homeless sunshine meeting we had a week ago. This plays into a collaborative effort of trying to ensure that the resources that we have get used in the most efficient way. My colleague indicated something regarding funding. I think that one of the curative issues, I think is the issue of let's try to find out how we help the most needy and the least to be involved in the homeless situation. Homelessness is not just not being able to live. It's a lot of other issues. So clearly, we want to know the resources that we spend. This will be used in an efficient manner. So our contribution to this portion is $14 million. There's an additional fund. We want to make sure that these funds get used in a way that helps our residents and clearly it helps the situation going forward, knowing that we're doing this coming to get it prepared for it. Thank you.
Let me address the most important topic that I see we have here today for a lot of you. La placita, not COVID. If I'm wrong, let me know, guys. We tried to get $14.7 million to La Placita so that a lot of you in the media would be pleased. And you could keep having steaks, food, and alcohol, like some of the other favorite places, but we were told we couldn't do it. So we tried, but we have to give it to the residents. And that's what we're going to do. Going to the dollars, which is $14.7 million that we're going to have for the residents of Miami. And a more serious, appropriate tone. If we go out and give right up the bat the full $24,000 to each individual, we're only going to be able to service 560 plus residents, which is a drop in the bucket. So from the commission standpoint, when we vote upon this at the next commission meeting, and going to propose, if we're allowed to by the guidelines, which I think we can, is from our part not to go to the full 24,000, but to go half of that, 6 months, 12,000, so that we could reach more people and still reaching some 1,300 people approximately ain't going to be enough in a city of this size. This shows you just how much we could have accomplished if the county would have given us our fair and correct share, another $73 million approximately, that we should have gotten from the county. Imagine what the city of Miami could have done with another $73 million. When we were given monies at the last moment to have to spend by December 31st, and we were able to accomplish what I don't think anyone else was able to do. And this is why it's important that our mayor, lobbyists, and others that will represent us with the administration change those rules so that dollars come to us directly, like CDBG money, because our residents are hurting, in particular with the poorest areas of greater Miami, of all Miami-Dade County, for the most part, lie within the city of Miami. Next commission meeting, we will, as I said, vote upon how much money we're going to award to each recipient for them. I think 6 months is fair because there's obviously going to be more dollars that will be approved. And as we help the most amount of people now, then later on we could go back to some of those other people if they still need help, and they will be available to them with more funding. COVID, while yes, it's going down, thank God, it's still very dangerous in our community. As we speak here today, we are well over 5,000 dead in our community. And by the end of this week, we would have reached the official amount of over 400,000 people, residents in Miami, that would have been infected by COVID. That's a huge amount. Huge. And if you take into consideration that there's probably an equal amount that was also infected but not reported because they didn't know they got it or they were afraid to lose their jobs if they reported it. The biggest problem that we're facing, however, is the different variants that we're getting. The one that's most prevalent in Miami-Dade County now, a lot more than you're being told, is the UK variant. No doubt that one spreads a lot easier than the original COVID, but it's showing to be a lot more deadly than the original COVID-19. Beyond that, the next most dangerous one, that we don't have any reported cases that I know of in Miami-Dade County, is the South African variant. But the most dangerous variant of them all, which has not been talked about much in our community, in the media, is the one from Manaus, Brazil, what they call the Brazilian variant. That one has the ability to even bypass your defense mechanism in your body and infect you. So this is why it's so important that all of our people get vaccinated as quickly as possible, because the quicker that we vaccinate our population, the quickest that we stop any additional variants from forming of our own that could be deadlier than the original COVID, or even deadlier than any of the other ones that I mentioned here. It won't have nowhere to go if they can't infect. We made a pledge that we're going to vaccinate our seniors before anyone else, because they are the ones that are truly the most at risk. But the minute we vaccinate every senior that we possibly can that wants to be vaccinated, then we need to go to the rest of the population as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, we're at the mercy of the federal government, and then from there, the state to be able to accomplish that. The city is still vaccinating across the board in all our district cities. At 1 p.m., we will be holding another press conference.
Bueno, mis amigos, me voy a echar un poquito para acá porque está lloviendo. Quiero decirles a ustedes que es importantísimo lo que se está haciendo para ayudar a la comunidad. Sobre todas las cosas, que este dinero va a ser directamente enviado a estas compañías, a estos landlords, como puede ser a los bancos o puede ser a la persona que está rentándole a usted. Así que esto es una gran oportunidad, esto es algo que la ciudad está haciendo para ayudar a todos los contribuyentes, para ayudar a toda la comunidad que tanto está sufriendo por esta pandemia del virus del Partido Comunista Chino. Así que hay que seguir trabajando y eso es lo más importante, trabajando por la comunidad del sur de la Florida. Bye bye, nos vemos más tarde.